Good day, and welcome to Sports Paradise. I'm Dub, short for Big Dub, and remember, it's currently springtime, which pretty much means it's summertime, especially if you're in Toronto. Just been waiting all winter for this, even though winter was kind of soft this season. Get out there, play some tennis, go to the driving range, take a nice drive. No, the driving range, but go also also a nice drive around the town. Wear sunglasses. Go like a bit above the speed limit. Drive a bit safe though. Drive safe, but just get out there and have a good time. Leave the house. Today's the first game of the softball season, and my team's looking to go back to back. One summer, looking to go spring, and then one summer again, the same season. Let's go. It's going to be a fun year. So today, we're talking about the Champions League results. We're talking about the Premier League. Well, today's only one game, Chelsea. So that's an important game for me. We'll talk about the NHL playoffs, the NBA playoffs. We'll give an update on the Madrid Open. And then we'll preview the Grand Prix this weekend in Miami. And then we'll talk about some MLB and some Blue Jays talk. Okay, so the first game of the Champions League semifinals was on Tuesday, and that was between Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. That game took place in Bayern. And Germany, and talk about in Munich, and talk about back and forth affair. That was another great game to watch as far as football goes. Maybe it wasn't the most exciting game, but it was definitely a fun game to watch with a result that I guess both teams deserved. They tied. So I feel like Bayern, they needed to win that game because Madrid is, I feel like, a better team than them. They have maybe a more classic coach, like a better coach who's used to winning Champions League. Of course, Tuchel is good too for Bayern as far as Champions League goes, but Ancelotti, Real Madrid are just, Champions League is their tournament. So I felt like Bayern, especially playing at home, they had to win that game, but they only can manage a tie. Bayern early on, they had control. They're getting some good chances. Madrid's goalie made a couple of great saves, especially around like a minute or less into the game. Bayern already had a great chance, and from then on out for the next 20-25 minutes, they were just in control. But as we've seen so many times, you give Madrid just one chance to score and they'll take it. And that's exactly what happened. Vinny Jr. scored a classic goal and put him up 1-0 early on. Not early on, but I guess almost near halftime, but a bit, maybe like halfway through the first half, it was 1-0 for Bayern, or for Real Madrid. Like I said, Bayern had control early on, but Real Madrid made one of their only first half chances count. In the second half, Bayern capitalized. They came out strong again. They knew they had to win. The crowd was behind them 100%, 110%, and they capitalized on their chances. What they didn't score in the first half, they managed to score second half. Sané scored a goal, a wicked goal from either it was outside the box, just outside the box, or just inside the box. Nailed it into the corner. Goal, 1-1. Shortly after, Bayern created another chance. This time, it resulted in a penalty for Bayern. One of their players was taken down in the box. Bam, penalty. The referee had no hesitations pointing to the spot. Harry Kane stepped up and made no mistake. 2-1 Bayern within 5 minutes of each other, and that was still early on in the second half. So Real Madrid had time to come back, and Bayern had to face a lot of pressure, and they still had to at least hold on for another half an hour plus added time. They were doing well. Bayern was doing really well. They looked like they were going to score even another goal, go up 3-1, and go up 2 goals in the tie on aggregate. And I felt like that's what they needed to do. Go back to Spain up at least 2 goals. But it's just too hard. The game is just too hard. It's too competitive. Real Madrid, they're just a professional team. They have star players wherever you look. And in the 83rd minute, Rodrigo, one of the best players on their team, one of the best players, seems to be in the world, but just in the right system currently on Real Madrid, ran the ball into the box and was taken down. Once again, the referee did not hesitate to point to the penalty spot. Penalty to Madrid. And just like Harry Kane, Vinny Jr. stepped up and made no mistake. Nailed it. 2-2. And that's how the game ended. It seemed like after that took place in the 83rd minute, and it seemed like after that, both teams were just playing it safe, not wanting to make any grave mistakes, not wanting to go back to the second leg down a goal when they could just start again, start fresh back in Spain next week. Second game is going to be next Wednesday in Madrid. And what'll happen? That game probably going to be high scoring. I feel like it'll be high scoring because I think Madrid is going to score the first goal. They might even score a second goal, and Bayern might be threatening and tie it up, and just going to have to keep scoring goals after goals. So maybe that could be like a 4-4 game in Madrid. I don't think, like, when it comes to like Real Madrid has a great team, but I feel like they also allow goals if they're pressured by a team like Bayern, who has great players. So 4-4 seems like it's gonna be a high scoring. Like unrealistic for a Champions League game where they gotta be real stout on defense. But it might be at least like 4-3. 3-3 will still be pretty high scoring. And go to penalties, maybe extra time, they'll score another goal or two. So anything can happen. We've seen that multiple times in the Champions League. Anything can happen. So Harry Kane, Musiala, Leroy Sané gonna have to show out. Manuel Neuer, make some saves. De Ligt, Kimmich, hold the line, hold the back line. But it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be tough to stop Real Madrid. Jude Bellingham, Vinny Jr., Rodrigo, Camavinga, Kroos, Modric coming off the bench. Rudiger down on defense. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a good game. And like I said, while watching the game, I wanted to see where my allegiances would lie, and it seemed like I wasn't cheering for either team. I seemed like when Madrid was down 2-1, I wanted them to score to make it 2-2. I just wanted to see as many goals as possible. And 2-2 was a pretty good score. It's a pretty good score. So yesterday, Wednesday, was the second Champions League game, and that was between Dortmund and Paris Saint-Germain, and that game was also in Germany. So both German teams were home to start, and one of them tied, and Dortmund, they managed to win 1-0. 1-0 against Mbappe, Dembele, Barcola, Zaire Emery, against great players. Regardless of being at home, to not allow one goal is quite good. A quite impressive team showing. Keeping a clean sheet is hard, especially against those guys. Dortmund didn't have many great chances, didn't have a lot of shots, but they made it count. Early on, halfway through the first half, I believe, Füllkrug took a great, he received the ball with the softest touch. It was just got off his foot, went to the right spot, caught up to it, gathered himself a bit, and then banged it in. What a great shot. The goalie had no chance. The defender for PSG even got hurt on the play, unfortunately, because he was just trying to keep up, trying to block the shot, but he couldn't keep up, and maybe he strained his groin a bit. He's maybe pulled a hamstring a bit, but that was one of the best goals you'll see. It seems simple, but that first touch is not everyone can do it. Especially under so much pressure, but he did it. Füllkrug. From that point on, it was just Dortmund trying to prevent PSG from scoring. Their coach, I believe his last name is Terzic. He called a great game. Didn't allow PSG to get many opportunities. Didn't score one goal. Whenever they got into the box, PSG was just sent back. They were forced to take only outside shots, and they couldn't get any closer. But when they did, it wasn't a great opportunity, and Kobel showed up when he had to, making some good saves. Made a couple of good saves, and there was even one sequence in at least only 20 seconds where Mbappe was inside the box, bam, hit the inside of the post, not even the outside, hit the inside of the post. He was off by inches. Something only he could do, certain players could do. Mbappe just off by inches. 10 seconds later, the ball kept bouncing around the penalty zone, Dortmund penalty zone, and PSG hit the post again. Sometimes you got to get lucky, and sometimes you get unlucky. And PSG that game, they were shut down, and their only chances, they were unlucky to not capitalize on them. And that was as close as Paris Saint-Germain would get. I'm not sure they're feeling too down on themselves. They're going back to Paris. They know they have, the best player in the world. They have a great manager. They have great midfielders, other forwards, Dembele, to try to score. And I believe they can win that. Score the 2 goals to win that. Score maybe 3 goals to win that. To win it on aggregate. I was watching it, and I wasn't quite sure who I wanted. Like I said in a previous episode of Sports Paradise, I seemed like I would want Mbappe and PSG to win, but I didn't really have my allegiances shown that much. It was good for Dortmund for getting out at least a win, because now I heard that in Bundesliga, because of Dortmund's win, the top 5 teams in the Bundesliga will get a Champions League spot next season. And who is currently 5th spot in the Bundesliga? Dortmund. So that was a win they deserved. They're a solid team. They've always been a solid team. But I feel like back in Paris next week, I think PSG is going to come out with the win in that game. I think they will. And I don't know, maybe I do hope they do, but we'll see what happens. If Dortmund can win that game and go to the Champions League finals, that'd be great. Because PSG, they kind of have a history of not performing to their expectations, not doing well when they have to do well. So maybe it wouldn't be a total surprise, but I would feel like it would be an upset if Dortmund won on aggregate, especially if they won at Paris. Dortmund, they might have had to score at least 2 goals to at least maybe force penalty kicks, because it'll be hard, because they have a great defense, but the home crowd was a clear advantage for Dortmund yesterday. it was a clear advantage. And being in Paris, their home crowd was also just as passionate, just as electric. It is what you wanna see when you're a home team playing in front of your fans, an advantage. And PSG, with the skill they have, I feel like they're gonna win that. Maybe 3-1, maybe even like 4. Because Mbappe, he's gonna score. He's gonna score, and that's just probably gonna account for 2 goals. Dembele can score. A lot of their team can score. So today, Thursday, 2nd of May, only one Premier League game is taking place. And what game is that? Chelsea versus Tottenham. Chelsea's going to be at Tottenham Stadium. I don't know what it's called, like the Hotspur Stadium. And let's see how it goes. Chelsea, they were down 0-2 at Aston Villa, and they showed some great fight to come back and tie it up and they could have even won that game. And now they'll face another great team. Another team that's looking to be in the Champions League next year, even though they might be too far. Tottenham currently has 60 points, and Aston Villa currently has 67 points. So it seems like Tottenham just might miss out on a Champions League next season, because to be 7 points down at this point in the season is too much to overcome. But so Tottenham, they still believe, of course, as a team, as a club, you have to believe in yourself. That is all matters what you do. So they're going to come out at home tonight, and they're going to be trying to win that game. Chelsea, they're still fighting. They're still trying to do their thing, get ready for next season, go end the season on a high note, which they should. And they're going to hopefully not roll over like they did against Arsenal. But hey, that was without Cole Palmer, and we see what took place. Oh man, imagine Chelsea didn't have Cole Palmer this season. I hate to see how low they would be in the tables if they lost that game against Arsenal. Of course, one of the better teams in the league, 6-0. But man, like against Aston Villa, Cole Palmer was back. He didn't score, but they didn't lose a game. Came back and tied 2-2. So early on in the season, you might remember Tottenham and Chelsea played a thrilling game. Tottenham got 2 red cards to make it like a 9-11 for Chelsea. And even that was Nico Jackson's hat trick. I mean, no, they're simple finishes. You'd expect them to win that game 4-1, knowing that it was 11 against 9, but they still did it. It's not easy to get a hat trick, and Nico Jackson got a hat trick, and it was a strange game for sure. I'm not quite sure who's going to start today for Chelsea. All I know is that there's not going to be any Enzo Fernandez. He's out. Thiago Silva might start. They announced that he's going to be leaving Chelsea at the end of the season, so he might just be playing just for the sake of letting him have some respect to end the season. But besides that, also guaranteed starts are just Cole Palmer, Nico Jackson, Conor Gallagher, Caicedo too, Cucurella probably, but we'll see who all starts. The defense has been shaky all season, so they're going to allow a couple of goals to be scored. I mean, Tottenham has great players to score goals, to put some pressure on Chelsea's weak defense. And Petrovic, we all know, isn't the best at making saves. So it'll be either a hard-fought win, a hard-fought tie, or a major loss. But knowing that Cole Palmer is going to be with us, he's going to be with us. Cole Palmer. I doubt that it's going to be a major blowout. So hopefully Chelsea can do well this game. Hopefully they can win. At least score some goals. At least be impressive. Do it for Enzo, if anything. So the game starts 2:30 Eastern time. I guess that's 7:30 London time, and hopefully, it's a good game. Hopefully, it follows up this week's Champions League game with some quality Premier League action. Now, on to some major sports talk. The Maple Leafs. Game 5 in Boston. They won that game. Forced to game 6 back at home tonight. And they won quite impressively. Without Matthews, I mean, the Leafs came out and they were flying. They were like outshooting Boston, like 12-3, like end of the first period. Boston had like 4 shots, and they just came out, and that was it. They actually won the game. Sheldon Keefe made a major change in goalie. He didn't start Samsonov. He started Joseph Woll. Joseph Woll was absolutely incredible. He was a beast. He was making saves. I thought Boston would score. Joseph Woll was there to save the day. I mean, everyone knows the Wall pun. Joseph Woll is just a brick wall, and that's what he was. That's what he had to be. That's what he was. Only allowing 1 goal. And one thing though, I wouldn't want Samsonov to feel like he played well. Like he didn't. I mean, he was inconsistent throughout the season, but so was Joseph Woll. And Samsonov has more experience, so you got to start him at least. But in the playoffs, it's not like he was bad. You know, he didn't play bad in the playoffs. He allowed like 3 goals, which is, a good amount of goals to allow, but the Leafs couldn't score. So it's not like it was his fault per se. But if Joseph Woll can keep on playing like this, especially tonight, especially tonight, then the Leafs have a chance to force a game 7. They're going to be at home, and they have to win at least 1 game at home, right? Boston came to Toronto, game 3 and 4, and won both games. The Leafs won 2 games in Boston, but they could have at least went back to Boston on like Tuesday, tied 2-2. They could have won 1 game at home. The Leafs had to win a game at home, right? That's why we're feeling confident, because they're at home. They have to win 1 game at home. Please, it's going to be a lot of pressure, but it's going to be a lot of pressure on Boston too. It seems like maybe there's going to be more pressure on the Leafs because they know what's coming if they lose. So they're going to be trying their hardest to score, to play defense, to just win. And I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. All I know is that I hope the Leafs win. My jerseys are still up. The faith is still alive. They're at home, and they can win. Can Wall only allow 1 goal? He might have to. Who knows? He might even have to get a shutout. Can the Leafs score 3 goals? Will Matthews be back? They can score. They have the talent to score, the Leafs. They just have to use the crowd. The crowd has to be as loud as possible. The Leafs play. Make some big hits. Get the crowd going. Get them jumping. Get them on their feet. Get the towels waving. The Leafs have to be physical. They have to play fast. They have to be passionate. They have to play with the utmost electricity, just like they got shot with a bolt of lightning. They have to play like that. They must play like that in order to win and force a game 7 back in Boston. The core 4, Tavares set up the OT winner for Matthew Knies last game. Great rush. Great rush to the net, and Knies got the rebound, scored. Game 6. Matthews didn't play. He has to play today. Nylander is still looking to make a big impact in the series. Today is the day. Marner, he's, a lot of things have been said about Marner, his passion, his effort, but he's been putting up, he scored some goals, but just kind of meaningless goals, so those four guys have to show up. Morgan Riley has to show up, play some defense. Bertuzzi, Matthew Nyes, Domi. He's always trying to be a playmaker, but sometimes he's got to shoot. Like the Leafs last game were on a 2-on-1, and like the guy, and it was Domi, and I forgot who was on the other side. Maybe it was Bertuzzi, and Bertuzzi was getting out of position for a good shot, and the Boston defender was like daring Domi to shoot. You gotta have some confidence in your shot. At least threaten like you're gonna shoot, so maybe the defense can lean towards your side a bit and have a better opportunity for a 2-on-1 goal. But Domi passed the puck up, and even though it wasn't gonna be like the odds of that pass going in on the 2-on-1 were very slim. He still made it when he could have shot. So it's possible the Leafs can win tonight. I don't want to say anything, but I'm just gonna be praying. The game's gonna be going on during my softball game, so I'm gonna have to be on the bench, looking at the score, following along, seeing what my teammates are saying about the game that's going on. Hopefully they're gonna be caught up too, and we're all gonna be praying for the Leafs together. Go Leafs, go! In other news, the Panthers, they handled the Tampa Bay Lightning in 5 games. Not only did I think the Lightning would win the series, I thought they would win the Stanley Cup if I wasn't being biased towards the Leafs. But hey, Florida is a solid team. Of course, they had the best record in the division, home ice advantage, and it seems like the Lightning are not who they were back in the day. But honestly, I thought the Lightning could be like Golden State. You know, Golden State Warriors, how they had their dynasty run, then they were pretty bad for a bit, then they came back and won a championship. That's what I was kind of expecting from the Tampa Bay Lightning, but it seems like that didn't work out. Is Stamkos going to be back next season? It's not like he's totally washed up, but he's not the same. So, hey, maybe he'll go to a team where, like a contender team, maybe he'll stay in Tampa Bay, but there are going to be some changes for sure. The Carolina Hurricanes took care of the Islanders in 5 games. The Canes are a great team, and the Islanders are not so much. And seems like round 2 is going to be the Carolina Hurricanes versus the New York Rangers. And even though the Rangers completely beat up the Capitals, I still am probably going to be cheering for the Rangers to win that series. I'm not like a Rangers hater. I'm really not. Maybe sometimes like I don't know. Like they're a great team, and when they go up against my team, and you hear the crowd cheering, you see how they're playing. It just frustrates you sometimes when your team is losing. But I really don't mind the Rangers. It seems like Florida is waiting to see the winner of Boston versus the Leafs. The Leafs looking to get revenge, looking to exercise their demons against Boston, and the next round against Florida. But let's see. I'm not saying anything. In the Western Conference, Dallas Stars have won 3 straight games to go up 3-2 against the Vegas Golden Knights. I honestly think Vegas will force a Game 7, but I also thought the series would be done a while ago, especially when Vegas went up 2-0 in the series. But they won 3 straight. Their team is showing some heart, getting some great goaltending at the right time, and they're up 3-2. So let's see if they can close out in 6. But like I said, I think Vegas is gonna win that series, or at least force a Game 7. The Avs took care of business against the Winnipeg Jets. They won that series in 5 games. It seems like the Avalanche are unstoppable. It seems like the Vezina Trophy favorite, Connor Hellebuck, was not ready for playoff hockey. But I mean, it's a team sport. But that was a high-scoring series. but the Avalanche just are stacked. The Predators, similar to the Leafs, they forced a game 6. I wouldn't mind seeing a game 7. Like, the Canucks are good, but I feel like during this series, it's not like they completely dominated the series so far. For example, like the Rangers did, like Carolina did, like the Avalanche did. But of course, those series are already wrapped up. So if they dominated, they would also be wrapped up. But seeing how they lost, it shows that they're a bit vulnerable to a game 7. And the Predators, they have if they can get some solid goaltending from UC Saros, play some good defense and get some timely goals, shut down the Canucks' superstars, they can force a game 7. I wouldn't mind seeing a game 7 between those two teams. Edmonton, on the other hand, probably one of the more impressive series wins, because even though Edmonton, McDavid, Draisaitl, and company, they were expected to win the series. Like, it's not like a guarantee you're gonna win. Of course, you still have to come out and prove it. And those guys are some of the best players in the league offensively, and they got some good goaltending. They got timely goals, of course, but most importantly, their star players showed up. And they're on to the next round, beating the Kings in 5 games. And the Kings, it's not like they're a slouch team either. It's not like it's like the Capitals against the Rangers, Islanders against the Hurricanes. The Kings, they're a solid team. Good goaltending, good depth. But the Canucks, the Oilers, they won via the blowout. They won in overtime, I believe, and they won a close game. They won one game, 1-0. So they won in every way. So that was a solid series win, and that was impressive for Edmonton to move on in 5 games, not really having to break a sweat. So the only game tonight is the Leafs versus Bruins. In the NBA, the Celtics didn't want to waste any time after Porzingis got injured. They totally whipped the Miami Heat last night and won the series in 5 games. They blew them out. And that was, pretty much an expected result, especially because the Miami Heat were without Jimmy Butler, their best player. On the news today, sports news, I saw that Celtics fans were chanting, "Na na na na, hey hey hey, goodbye." That usual song to troll other teams. But come on, Celtics are the first seed, they won the Eastern Conference by 13 games. They had the best record in the entire NBA. You're playing the 8th seed without their best player. So have some, Boston fans are Boston fans forever. MLB, NFL, Patriots, and Celtics. It's, and the Bruins, go figure. So you'd expect that, but come on. Celtics, they're a title favorite, and if they don't win, Boston fans gonna be depressed. So Celtics are now waiting to see who they're gonna play between the Magic and the Cavs. Talk about that a bit later. But for now, the most exciting series in the playoffs, the Knicks and the Sixers, Game 5 was another thriller. Went to overtime where the Sixers won and forced a Game 6 tonight in Philly. And the Knicks, oh man, they were up 6 points with 30 seconds to go in regulation, and they couldn't hang on. Josh Hart, when they were up 3, or they were up 2, Josh Hart had 2 free throws to make it a 2-possession game, and he missed one. Tyrese Maxey went down the court, made a 3-pointer. Bam! Tie game. Off to OT. a lot of people were saying, "Oh, should Tom Thibodeau have fouled Maxey? Prevent a three, shoot 2 free throws." Like, I don't know about playing like that. I mean, that seems to me more like a college basketball strategy. But then when you see the dire need of the series win and what happened as a result, it seems like you just gotta go for the win and doesn't not worry about what's right or what's wrong. It just makes more sense to foul, take 2 shots. They might miss a free throw on purpose, get the rebound, but it's a tough call as a coach to make. And I don't know what I would do if I was a coach. That's why I'm not a coach. But hey, this is a sports show to give my opinion, and what I would do is, before seeing what happened, I would have probably not fouled. But now it's like you just don't want to risk it. So I guess the best thing to do would, if you're up 3, 10 seconds to go, shoot, foul him, make him shoot free throws, miss it on purpose, make sure your team blocks out and gets the rebound, win the game. But they really messed up by not making 2 free throws too. That was not clutch by Josh Hart. Brunson was amazing as usual, but Tyrese Maxey was even better. Putting the team on the back. Embiid is like, he's really laboring out there. Give him credit for his heart. He's really laboring, but he's not himself. And Tyrese Maxey, that's his team. Knicks got to find a way to win. Didn't want to go to Game 7, even though they'll be at home for Game 7. And that'll be a crazy experience for fans watching on TV, and especially at Madison Square Garden. But just ended tonight. Without Giannis, without Damian Lillard, by some miracle, the Milwaukee Bucks stayed alive against the Pacers. That series could have been over in 5 games, but the Pacers didn't take that chance, and the Bucks won, forcing Game 6. I don't know if Giannis or Lillard is playing tonight. Maybe Lillard will. I don't know how serious their injuries are, but Pacers, they can't blow their opportunities and move on to the next round. If Giannis and Lillard are both playing, obviously the Bucks should be better. Giannis is the best player in the league, almost one of the most dominant players. And Lillard, he's clutch, he's kind of inefficient, but he can score a lot of points. So the Pacers really had to close it out unless they want to be put in danger. But hopefully Giannis isn't going to rush back. Hopefully he's just going to take his time and not hope maybe the Bucks can manage to force a Game 7 or even win the series. The Pacers, I don't know if they're used to this kind of pressure. You saw when they had Paul George, they didn't really do much in the playoffs. And now with Halliburton, Siakam, Miles Turner, they're trying to close it out. Let's see if they can be different. I don't really have any problem with whoever wins. I guess Siakam, I wouldn't mind him going on to the second round, facing the winner of Knicks and Sixers. That would be a fun series. And in the series where the home team always wins, and the series that no one is really paying attention to, the Cavaliers lead the Magic 3-2. That's probably a low-key exciting series, but I feel like no one has been watching that game. I know I haven't really tuned into any of those games. I just see the score. Usually it's a blowout, but Game 5, where the Cavs won, that was a close game. It seemed like the Magic were ahead, but then the Cavs came back and won that game at home. So based on history of the past 5 games, it seems like the Magic will win in Game 6, force to Game 7. But I don't really see the it's hard to imagine the Cavs, the Magic. I don't know, just I feel like the Cavs should be better, but I thought that they would have already lost. I feel like they would already beat the Magic, but the Magic are showing some good fight. They're a good young team with good potential. In the Western Conference, the Thunder impressively completed the sweep against the New Orleans Pelicans. Similar to the Timberwolves, I I knew the Thunder were good, but like in the playoffs, I thought they might lose at least like one game or maybe two games, especially because the Western Conference is stacked. Like the 6, 7, 8 teams, they're great teams. Like in the Eastern Conference, the 8 team just got the Boston Celtics just got owned. Um, Sixers were the 7 seed, and they're struggling, and they're putting up a good fight against the Knicks, and the 6 seed is the Bucks versus Pacers, and that's also a good fight. But that's like teams that aren't really that good, and but then the Knicks and the Sixers series are teams that are really good, but the Sixers really shouldn't be in the 7th spot. They were just lost Embiid for pretty much half the season. But in the Western Conference, like you saw the Lakers, they're a good team. They got LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Austin Reeves. 7 seed, that was the Lakers, but like 8 seed, Pelicans, they were a solid team all season long. They had a good record, and the 6 seed Phoenix Suns, they have Devin Booker, KD, and they also got swept. So like I thought at least like the Wolves and the Thunder would maybe lose 1 or 2 games, but to complete the sweep is very impressive. So the 2 young teams just playing basketball, just enjoying their time on the court, just doing very well. Just doing very, very well. So the Nuggets, as you heard, they finished off the Lakers. The Lakers at least managed to win 1 game. I thought they would win that game 5 to force the game 6, but Denver came back and won. Jamal Murray had 2 game winners in this series. Just put the dagger to the Lakers, to Anthony Davis and LeBron James. LeBron James trying to like dodging questions about his future in the NBA, if he's gonna retire, if he's gonna like leave the Lakers. I want to see him lead the Lakers just because it'll be exciting off season. If he just stays, it's gonna be like your typical off season. Nothing really exciting happening. But a lot of teams have to make some changes, especially like the Phoenix Suns. They gotta get some players to play around Booker and KD. Some defense, some depth scoring off the bench. Denver is facing the Wolves in round 2, and let's see who wins that series, because I feel like the Wolves are the only team who could prevent Denver from completing a back-to-back. The Wolves, after showing what they've done against Phoenix, Anthony Edwards, and the 2 towers of Gobert and Towns. And Towns is also an offensive threat. Naz Reid, that's going to be a great series. And like I would predict Denver to win, but I don't know how many games. Maybe 7. Because Jokic is just the best player. So in the second most exciting playoff series, Luka Doncic finally took lead. Played like we're used to seeing him play. Scoring buckets, getting assists, leading the charge. Kyrie Irving's not by himself. They play some good defense. And the Mavericks on the road won game 5 against the Clippers. And they blew them out. Like, it was a close game to start, and bam, just outpaced the Clippers and won that game. James Harden, playoff P, Paul George, Russell Westbrook, didn't really do much. Couldn't follow up their great game in game 4 with another great game in game 5. They seem to be inconsistent, and they might even show up for game 6 and force a game 7. We'll see. Will Kawhi be back? I want to see. Hopefully the the Mavericks could win that series. As everyone knows, I'm not a fan of anyone on the Clippers, really, except for Westbrook, but like hardly even that much these days. But, and especially too, Mavericks are going to be at home in Game 6, so hopefully they can end the series. That should be a good advantage because the Dallas crowd goes bananas. They're almost as loud as like the MSG, as the Garden. So we'll see. So, 2 games tonight. The Pacers trying to close out the Bucks in 6 games. And the Sixers are trying to stay alive against the Knicks, trying to close out that series. The last game in Philly, a lot of like Embiid was mad because there are too many Knicks fans in the building, like chanting MVP for Jalen Brunson at the line in Philly. Like get a load of that, eh? So I read that the higher ups in Philly, they bought a lot of tickets to prevent the Sixers or the Knicks fans from buying the tickets. But there could even be Sixers fans in Philly. I mean, there could even be Knicks fans in Philly. So, the next thing we'll talk about is the Madrid Open. The semifinals are about to be set for the men's in the Madrid Masters 1000. Surprise, surprise, neither Alcaraz nor Jannik Sinner are going to be involved. Alcaraz lost to Andrei Rublev, and Jannik Sinner had to withdraw with a hip injury. Jannik Sinner made it to the quarterfinals, but before he could play, he had to withdraw. And that's too bad to see. But I wouldn't say it's good news, but because Jannik Sinner withdrew, that means the Canadian Felix Auger-Aliassime, he automatically moved on to the semifinals without playing his quarterfinal matchup because he was going to face Jannik Sinner. So now, patiently waiting to see who the winner of Medvedev versus Lehecka is going to be. Lehecka is coming off beating Nadal, upsetting the home crowd. Nadal played great, but I guess he just didn't have any more steam. Lehecka took care of him and is facing Medvedev in the semifinals. So, in the quarterfinals, I hope that Medvedev can beat Lehecka because I want Medvedev to go on. If Medvedev moves on and faces Felix, it's tough to say honestly who I want to win. Like, as a Canadian, I should have Canadian bias. Sometimes I do, but I also like Medvedev. I like how he plays. I like his personality when he's playing the game. So all I want to see is some good tennis. I want to see a good match, a back and forth match. If Felix wins, it's kind of unlikely, I'll be happy. If Medvedev wins, which is more likely, I'd be happy too. So can't complain. The other semifinal matchup is going to be Taylor Fritz, the lone American, and Andrei Rublev, who beat Alcaraz. Taylor Fritz is usually in tournaments the last American man standing, and he's got 2 more tests to pull off this 1,000 win on clay, this Masters 1,000 win on clay. I have more American bias, I guess, than Canadian bias because I prefer Fritz to win that against Rublev, but we'll see what happens. In the women's, the first semifinal is taking place. So on the women's side, the first semifinals is already finished. That was Swiatek, who was facing Madison Keys. Madison Keys beat fellow American number 3 Coco Gauff, and if it wasn't for that, the semifinals in Madrid would have been 1, 2, 3, 4. Swiatek 1, Sabalenka 2, Coco Gauff 3, Rybakina 4. But Madison Keys beat Coco Gauff, and she went on to face Swiatek in the semifinals, and I just checked the score, and Swiatek won that 6-1, 6-3. Probably less than an hour's time. Swiatek moving on to the finals, and I'm pretty sure I predicted Swiatek would win this, so I'm not surprised. I mean, it's not like it was a bold prediction, but I mean, I've been wrong a few times this year with my predictions of favorites. The second semifinal is going to be later. That's going to be Sabalenka versus Elena Rybakina. Those two have had quite some good matches in the past, even recently too. Like as in like, I think they played maybe early on this year, and they played last year in the Australian Open. Rybakina was kind of injured to start this year. Now she's back, and she seems to be getting warmed up, getting ready to go, getting ready for Roland Garros. Who's gonna win this? Maybe Rybakina is gonna win this semifinal. That's what I think. She's a great tennis player. Obviously, Sabalenka is too, but I think Rybakina maybe is more clinical, more tactical, just as tall, just as strong, but just a bit more, of a tennis IQ. Even though she's fourth and Sabalenka is second, but Rybakina was also injured a bit. But mostly, I just want to see a good match. And the women's final is going to be Saturday. I predict it's going to be obviously Swiatek versus Rybakina, and Swiatek wins. And the men's final is going to be on Sunday. Still waiting to see the results, but between Felix Auger-Aliassime and potentially, so between Felix Auger-Aliassime and potentially Daniil Medvedev, I think Medvedev is going to win that. And between Taylor Fritz and Rublev, I'm biased with my pick, but maybe Rublev is going to win that, and I want Fritz to win. So I predict like a Medvedev versus Rublev final, and maybe Medvedev is going to take the cake in the Madrid 1000. And I believe that Medvedev and Rublev are friends. They know each other quite well. So it's going to be a good match. This weekend is going to be another exciting weekend in the Formula One world. It's another sprint race in Miami. The sprints, as you know, I'm not the biggest fan of, but I'm also a fan of just racing and having fun. So that should be a good race, a good event in Miami, especially. I believe Miami is almost, if not fully, like a street circuit, and hopefully that will create a more exciting race. We know that Max is not the biggest fan of street races, but of course he's still the favorite to win by 20 seconds, 30 seconds, But hopefully there'll be some, not any dangerous accidents, but hopefully there'll be some excitement, some good wheel-to-wheel battles, some yellow flags, some strategic pit stops taking place. We'll see what happens. The results of the race are probably going to be expected. I mean, the sprint race, Max is going to win, but sometimes the qualifying could be anyone of the top team, especially McLaren, especially maybe Fernando Alonso, maybe even Checo Perez. The Ferraris, of course, could do well in the sprint, but the race is just too long for any team to hold up Max for too long. But Max probably will win the sprint race, and then the Sunday Grand Prix is probably going to be Max winning again. Probably Checo second, one of the Ferraris third. Maybe this time, Leclerc will get back-to-back podiums, and then Sainz is fourth. The McLarens with Fernando Alonso mixed in, and then the Mercedes struggling with their slow car coming in 7th or 8th. But, Red Bull, of course, they're a dominant team, the most dominant team these past 3 years. But on the inside this season, they seem to be struggling. Starting with the whole madness with Christian Horner and his Red Bull and the lady from Red Bull who was trying to expose him, releasing text messages about what he texts his female like employees, etc. And all that drama. I don't know what the reason was, but it's caused Red Bull's lead engineer, their car designer, Newey, to leave at the end of the season. It's official. They've already announced it. He's leaving at the end of the season after 19 years at Red Bull. This man, Newey, he's arguably the reason why Red Bull has been so dominant. They finally figured out a great car, and they've been winning by 20 seconds for the past 2 seasons. So everyone is saying that, is this the end of Red Bull downfall, or is this the start of the downfall, the end of the dominance, you know? But everyone's also looking to see where he's gonna go next season. Are the stars aligning for Ferrari and Lewis Hamilton, that the best designer is gonna go to Ferrari same year as Lewis? That'd be incredible. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure, especially after Abu Dhabi 2021, a lot of fans feel like Lewis is owed some retribution. So maybe the man Newey is gonna go to Ferrari and make Lewis and Charles an excellent car, so they can be 1-2 in the Drivers' Championship. Lewis, he is a smart man, very smart man, the greatest of all time in Formula One, maybe except for like Schumacher, but he's obviously makes great decisions. He left McLaren, perfect time to go to Mercedes. 7 times, I think he won 6 world championships with Mercedes. Yeah, won like back to back. And now, it wasn't an easy decision at all to leave Mercedes, but he left Mercedes, or he's leaving Mercedes. He chose to leave Mercedes, and he's going to Ferrari next season, 2025. Another tough decision that he had to make, and it seems like it might pay off. It seems like he might be close to getting his 8th world championship, which would be absolutely amazing, which I want to see. I want to see Lewis dominate. So, what'll happen with Red Bull will Max leave the team? Will he go to like Mercedes? Will he go to like McLaren? Who knows what'll happen? Maybe he'll take Charles' spot at Ferrari one day and race with Lewis. That'd be insane. But what I want to see is just 2021 again, where every race between the top 2 were close, where the podium was like different almost every single race except for like either Max or Lewis at the top. They were both, every race, wheel to wheel action, down to the last race in Abu Dhabi, where that was like a sham, but it was still, super exciting. But like I said, I want to see that, except with a Lewis championship. So we'll see 2025 what happens. We'll see. So I wanted to talk about some baseball, but like the Jays are just disappointing. They can't hit. They can't really do anything right. They haven't decided to fire the coach, GM, president. So they're still just lame to talk about. And they lost to the Royals. They lost the series against the Royals. They're facing the Nationals this weekend and probably going to lose that series too. Maybe once they lose that series, they're going to fire some people. But we'll see what happens. I'll talk about the Jays on Monday, of course, but also I think it makes more sense to start the week with a wrap up of April, and see where everyone's at in the standings, see where the stats are at, see who's leading the MVP, like Rookie of the Year, Cy Young races, and then also talk about some fantasy sports. Well, baseball, where my teams are not doing well at all. So by Monday, there's going to be a lot of clarity in the NBA and the NHL. Should be getting ready for the second round by then. The Premier League is going to have some major results. Chelsea's going to be playing again against West Ham on Sunday. And we'll look at the results of the Madrid Open and the Miami Grand Prix. And then we'll preview the second leg of the Champions League semifinals taking place Tuesday and Wednesday. Madrid at home versus Bayern. Paris Saint-Germain at home against Dortmund. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to my softball game tonight. Looking forward to Friday. Tomorrow I might go on the driving range for a bit and hit some golf balls. Some good weather, hopefully. So, you too. Remember what I said. Go out there and enjoy the weather. Don't stay home all day, locked up. You get depressed. I would know. And just have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and have a great day.